Hello and welcome to our video on using the Banshee configuration utility. This free utility is the easiest way to configure your Banshee sound controller. Now you're going to start by plugging the included micro SD card into your computer and you'll see the following file structure. These folders are what will contain your sound and configuration for different inputs. You can manually put the sounds in this folder, or you can use the Banshee configuration utility. So we're going to launch that. Now once launched, if this is the first time you've configured this SD card, you will get this screen. Now first thing, if you have multiple SD cards or USB drives plugged into your computer, you need to come up here and make sure you're selected on the right one. Now going through this configuration on the wrong drive won't remove any files or anything from the drive. It will just create extra ones that are meant for the Banshee. So you need to make sure you're on the right micro SD card. So since we are, we're going to go ahead and create configuration, and now we have access to the entire software. If you're loading this up on an existing configured SD card, it'll just load up to this. Now up here, these are the different folders we can select between to do configuration. So you can set different configuration for each input, and then you can even configure the ambient. If you have a setting that you want to apply to all inputs, you can do that by checking the box in the global configuration. That will apply to all the inputs, but it will not apply to the ambient. So there's no need to select the configuration in all 6. You can just do that once here. You also have the volume box. So if you wanted a specific input to be at a different volume, you can select that here, and then you can change it. So if we wanted input 1 to play at half volume, we can do that. If you select the volume in the global, you'll get this warning. Setting the global volume will disable the volume dial on the physical controller. So if you want to do that, you can just select yes, and that will apply the global volume to all the inputs. So let's set this at 100. So now the controller will play at 100 volume, but the input 1 volume will override that. So it will still be at volume 50. So the way you go about doing configuration is just checking these boxes. If you hover over one, you'll get a little description. These are also described in the user manual. So say if we wanted input 1 to be interruptible and to be able to interrupt itself, we just check those and save, and now that configuration is saved to input 1. If we want to add sounds on each input, we can just click this button, and that'll bring up a file browser where we can browse MP3 files and WAV files. If you upload a WAV file to the Banshee configuration utility, it will automatically convert it to an MP3 to play on the controller. So let's just go ahead and play this one. And we see it named it 000.mp3. And now if we upload another one, it'll name it 001. So it will automatically name these files what the controller would expect. If we go ahead and upload a couple, and now we can also play the sound clip here to hear it, just to make sure you have the right one selected. If you don't want that, you can remove it, and it'll just confirm that this will physically remove that audio file from the micro SD card, so it can't be undone. And now the configuration utility has detected that we have ones labeled after this, and it's asking us if we want to rename them, because if we just delete 001.mp3, the controller will not skip past that to play 002.mp3. So if we want to rename them, we can see it's done that now. If we do that again, but select no, notice that it doesn't show all the other ones. That's indicating that the controller is only going to play 000.mp3. But since we chose to not rename them, the next one we upload is going to become 001.mp3, and they're all going to show back up again. If you need to reset your configuration to the factory defaults, you can use the reset button. And again, it's just letting you know that this can't be undone. You can't revert back. And now it's asking if we want to remove the audio files. If you just want to clear the configuration, you don't need to remove the audio files. But if you want to just start over completely, go ahead and remove the audio files. So we'll select yes here. And now we see it goes back to global and everything has been reset. We have no sounds or configuration. So let's show you what's happening behind the scenes. So again, we'll make input 1 interruptible and self-interruptible and save. And now what that's doing is it is actually making the config.txt file for output 1. So if we go in there, we can see two numbers, 21 and 22. Those numbers correspond to each configuration. So we can see we add more, it adds more numbers. These numbers are all documented in the user manual. So it is possible to do by hand, but the configuration utility makes it easy. That's the video on the Banshee configuration utility. Thank you for watching.